I mean, I don't want to be harsh, but I mean, it is just like the sort of raw, the raw. I mean, it's who makes up the rules. It's all fun at the end of it.
Shit.
That's the way I would
No,
say.
that's it. I'm leaving.
But
I'm quitting biking.
No,
No,
it is
it's
hard.
okay.
It is
Yeah.
hard. Nice.
Yeah.
I'm rolling.
Are you rolling? Sweet. All right. Check out this ASMR first, because I have to do it. It's on, like, it's a thing on my podcast that I'm just open cans
Oh yes.
really close to. Just listen to the. Do you know ASMR?
Yeah, I've heard of it. Yeah.
All right. So check this out.
Oh,
It sounded crisp, right?
oh, it's delicious. A nice cold Red Bull.
That's
Mm.
it. Cheers, man.
Cheers.
All
Nice
right.
one.
So just taking a sip. Sweet. Are we rolling? Yeah, we are actually. All right. Hello, guys. Welcome to another episode of Thoughts Under the Helmet. It's episode number 9, I think. And it's the second episode I'm doing in English right now. So, yeah, I'm sorry if my English is a little rusty. Got a few Swiss German guests lately. So, yeah, very honored to have you here, man. And I prepared a little intro for you.
Okay.
I'm gonna. I have to read it from my phone actually. But
Yeah.
are you ready?
Okay.
Are you guys ready? All right. Today's guest on Thoughts Under the Helmet is by far the biggest name we had on this show so far. He is a trials pro from the United Kingdom and is known for his creative videos on YouTube. With edits like Imaginate, The Rich, or A Wee Day Out, he became one of the most popular mountain bikers in the whole world. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm very honored to have this man next to me. It's Danny MacAskill.
Thanks for
So,
having me on.
Here's an applause for you, man. I'm so honored to have you because you're, yeah,
Cheers.
my 9th guest, man. So I started this podcast in like January this year because I was injured. I had to do surgery on my foot.
Okay.
And yeah, just couldn't really ride, wasn't able to ride high crutches. So I was just, yeah, in bed all the time, and I thought I could start a podcast.
That's a good use of your time for sure.
Of course, yeah. I got some questions, and first of all, we're at holidays, ladies and gentlemen. We are in Sursee. It's Sunday right now. We just finished the whole event. Did you like it? Was it a good event?
Yeah, it's been amazing. First time here at Hoshi Days, and I mean, just amazing crowds. We've got perfect weather. A little bit too hot for me, you know. I'm used to
It was crazy good weather,
Yeah,
and
it
it
was-
brought so many people. That's
yeah,
actually,
it was just so cool. So many kids that are into bikes, good family days, and getting to see some really cool action as well.
Yeah.
For me, getting to see the sort of freestyle MX
Yeah.
and quads and trials and BMX flatland, and
it's
just,
crazy, huh?
yeah, good fun.
Did you also had like a show where you combined everything together, like
Yeah.
motocross, the motocross, like trials with the motos,
Yeah,
right?
I mean, it was pretty loose, where we were just you know, we each had a bit of time to kind of do a bit of freestyle ourselves, and then tried to kind of just all go at once. It was pretty chaotic, but really good fun.
But- yeah.
Yeah, even won, I think, King of Hoshi Days the first day there, so got myself a nice wee crown and
Yeah.
a watch. So I don't win many things, so it was quite funny.
Yeah, so that's what you were like spectator's favorite, or like
Something like that.
something
yeah,
like
yeah.
that.
I wouldn't expect to win that kind of stuff.
No
It's-
way, but
it's-
congrats, man.
Oh,
That's
thanks,
huge.
man. Oh,
That's
yeah.
nice.
Nah,
Just to end off the weekend with a
yeah,
nice.
it was really good fun. It was just all around a good vibe. So
Yeah, sweet, awesome. It's been such a good event, and the thing I wanted to ask, like, do you plan your events, like, the tricks you want to do is like everything planned, like I do this and then I do that, and like,
yeah, we have
Or-
a fairly sort of semi-set routine. We've changed up a bit this year, trying to have a bit of a speed trial race, which is quite good fun.
oh yeah, I saw that on like
Yeah.
a phone clip on Instagram.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard because we have to kind of pack everything into one trailer to be able to go to the event, and there's a certain few sort of tricks that you want to sort of tick off. So,
Yeah.
But yeah, we're trying to sort of shuffle the show up. We changed a few things this time, and then throughout the year we're going to kind of change it up a little bit more. But you normally have a few things that you're going to do in the show. And
Yeah.
Then,
Like, but not the like tricks are like you don't really know like I'm gonna do this specific trick, or you just know like what features you're gonna do, or is it really like trick by trick and you have like a list you work through?
It's a fairly choreographed show.
All right.
I mean, Henry the announcer like knows.
Also, he knows what to announce.
Yeah,
huh?
and some days, depending on what surface you're on, sometimes we set things up a little bit differently, but you tend to just sort of know how it's going to go.
Yeah.
It makes it much sort of easier to watch rather than it being sort of chaotic and you don't know who's going where. The sort of our announcer very much sort of tees up what we're going to do next, and we sort of do a little bit of sort of pantomime. I don't know if you know that.
Yeah,
I don't know if they use that word over here, but it's like
no pantomime. You like kind of show something without actually talking.
Yeah, and it's like aimed towards the kids. You're like, oh no, he didn't. Oh yes, he did. And I sometimes play the baddie and make Duncan fall off, and he makes me fall off.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, it's
fun.
It's all about the entertainment. Right?
Yeah. I mean, we're trying to entertain and try to do hopefully some cool looking tricks as well. So.
Awesome. Yeah, I just said it in the intro. You're like one of the most entertaining people on a bike. I mean, like the videos you put out, the edits are crazy. Like the creativity and how spectacular the tricks are you do there.
Cheers.
Insane, man. And what I wanted to ask you is, when you do live shows, is it like different to do tricks in front of a live crowd?
Yeah, I mean, sorry, with
easy, man.
With drop and roll, yeah, I mean, we do very much have like a kind of set amount of tricks, and I do, you do push things like, myself and John. I didn't do it on this show, but we do things like tire tap 360 off the trailer, which is relatively big. You kind of, you try to, because you have to be able to do the show over and over again.
Yeah.
You try to sort of push it, but things like tire tapping off the trailer is like edging up to like the limits. If you put a few feet on top of that, and you're really kind of bumping up to the limits of what you could actually hold on to.
Okay.
I normally do a front flip off like this sort of 3 meter long kind of wedge.
It's not really. It doesn't really have like a transition.
Yeah,
it's more straight.
I normally do that in the shows, but I last year in Solden, I blew up a back wheel for the first time. I'd actually blown up another back wheel when I was filming or two back wheels in I was filming in San Francisco.
I saw that. Yeah, the postcard.
Yeah. So I ended up blowing up. I had never ever blown up any of my wheels on the trials bike, and then I did 2 or 3 in Alcatraz, and then I did one and sold them basically under rotating a front flip, and the spokes that I had were snapping in the middle. So I've got stronger spokes now, but I hadn't done the trick since last year. So I was like, normally I like to just do it on a bit of grass first to kind of get the first ones out of the way. So this year we just stuck to some backflips and keeping it kind of fun.
Even the backflip is crazy. I mean, does it like, because you do that in the show, you do that backflip on that, I don't know how tall it is, like
it's maybe 50 centimeters, 60 centimeters high.
Yeah.
But I mean,
you flip it around so easily. It's just super kicky, is it?
Yeah, you basically, it's quite nice because you just have to try hard. So I find if you backflip a mountain bike on a jump box, especially over a big jump, you actually have to relax. You have to, unless you're going for a double backflip, you have to really chill, pulling backwards. Whereas I quite like on the trials bike where I can like physically put a lot of power into the bike.
And you just go full gas, like you
basically just sprint at it and then just
yeet.
Yeah, and I was being lazy today, to be honest. I landed a few like slightly front wheel into the
yeah.
But I've done like thousands of flips off that ramp like this, so sometimes you can get a little bit lazy, but it's good fun.
Yeah. I did it like 999 times before that.
Yeah,
I can do it, and then this one time you mess it up,
Yeah, but the front flip's a different beast. The front flip is a full on. You go up this ramp and you don't use your brakes. Some people think you use your brakes to make the front flip, but you basically go up the ramp and then throw
like
yourself.
Lift
You bunny hop front flip and then pull the brakes in midair to kind of speed the bike up, and then hold on to the back brake to make it come around. But that's like full blown everything I've got kind of commitment.
Crazy,
to that.
man.
So it's really it's a fun trick actually. It's quite cool doing something that I used to be scared of in the videos. Like I've taken hours of run-ups in certain films trying to do this sort of bunny hop front flip thing off a wedge.
And it seems like you got so consistent with them, because I saw the one from Postcard from San Francisco, and you front flip that huge stair like into like just to flat ground.
Yeah.
You bailed like a few times, and
well, that's where I was blowing up my wheels, because I was under rotated. The drop could have done with actually being a little bit bigger, but the next step up I was too scared because I'd already blown up my wheel, and my frame and everything's kind of untested on that kind of limit. I was kind of, the next step up just sort of had the feeling like, could my handlebar snap off, or could my steer snap? It was so extreme on landing. Could I kind of even hold on to the bike at that kind of amount of impact? So I was too scared to go up to the next step, and the step I was going off was just a little bit too low. So that's why I was kind of slightly under rotating, and then it wasn't going well for me, but it worked in the end. So.
No, it's fine. It's fine. Could you maybe put it up? Maybe there's like a screw, like you can like loose it up and put it a little higher. It's all good.
I'm not a very professional.
Well, like that's why we're here. I'm not very professional either, but it's all good. Thanks, man. So I already asked, like, does it get or is it different to perform in front of a live crowd than like to perform in a video? But is it like, I don't know. How do you still get nervous like doing it, or how is it when you do tricks with like being nervous with doing tricks in a live show or doing tricks in a like video part or something?
For me,
like it's the how do you say, like, nervous-y?
Yeah, no, for me it's
different.
For me it's completely different. When I do tricks live for the Drop and Roll show, it's usually tricks that I've done them all. They're I could just do them. I can do them all, without really, it's all within like a certain level. It's up to like 90% kind of level for me. I have no nerves before doing the show. It's when we're in our area, then it's
you're like in your comfort space.
Totally. And there's no stress. Even if I crash, because the shows they're meant to be fun. Yeah. So Henry just sort of takes the mickey. But when I'm filming, it's a totally different story. When
it's like more serious, and the focus is different.
Well, you're just trying when I'm filming. I'm usually trying to do a trick that I've never done before, or hopefully nobody else has done before as well, or something along those lines. Or sometimes it could be very technical, and it could take you hundreds of tries to get along, to ride along the thing I'm trying to ride along. Or if it's a banger, then you're really trying to, you're trying to push through mentally, which I really struggle with, to be honest.
You do?
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like it, because I don't know, in those video parts when you do all those crazy things, you really commit every single time, and it looks like.
No, that's what you see in the end.
But also the bails are like, when you bail, when you have to bail, you already committed to a level that you had to bail, because otherwise you wouldn't even go that far.
Well, that's the hard part is the irrational fear that you have at the start of a run up. So it's like, I like to try to learn things with like relatively safely if I can. If I'm going to learn how to do a flip trick, then I like to try to like learn it into foam pit, learn it onto some mats, make sure I've got the kind of basics that I'm not going to land on my head out of the way, because I don't want to, it just basically don't really want to land on my head on but then once you kind of got to that stage and you're there on location, even sometimes on location, the only place to learn some of the tricks that I've done are on location, so I'll land some stuff onto mats, try to get the sort of feeling for it that day, and then you take them away, and then all you need to do is just repeat what you've been doing. You're like, well, all I need to do is just throw myself over the handlebars, pull my back brake, hold on tight, I'll be fine. But then when it comes to the irrational part of your brain kicks in, and it's like screaming at you,
you're like, no, you don't want to do this actually.
So it's just scary. It's really frustrating, and the thing the worst part is basically the feeling, well, your brain's going, your fear is that you're going to basically, as you commit to throwing yourself over the handlebars, you're basically going to, it's an irrational feeling, but you're going to basically, what would I say?
Because
Like lose commitment.
Yeah.
And then that's when everything goes wrong. If you hold on and fully commit, chances are it depends on how badly you've mucked it up. But you're generally going to be okay, or you're going to land it. It's if you went to like do a backflip and then suddenly hesitate.
Yeah, and then you're like in the middle of it, you like let off go your bike or something like that.
Yeah, so I mean, there's some days you turn up to a location and you're like, right, I'm just going to get on with this. Try it, maybe onto some mats a few times, take them away, and you're like, right, I'll just go and do it first go, and you land it. Sometimes or even you might have a few crashes at the bottom, but then you've kind of gone through that part and you're like, all right, I'll just go through it until I land it.
But that's crazy. Okay. Wow. Because I guess also the tricks you do are just so not normal and like in human nature almost, like not like your body is screaming when you do like front flips from like fences or something, like bunk from or something. That's nothing like a human naturally would do, and then your brain's like, that's scary, don't do it. And maybe that's like why your rational thoughts stop, and then you just
it's often, I mean, I've landed a lot of tricks with films that I've never really sort of practiced before the day of filming. It will be a case of turning up to the location and trying to do the thing that you're trying to do, or you see. But I also think I actually have a kind of an easier job, certainly compared with sort of free ride mountain biking or downhill.
Okay.
I mean, especially free ride. I mean, so many of my friends are, the top free rider guys doing the crankwork circuit, or all the kind of stuff, and the level of risk that they have to take.
Because they're competing, or do you also think
because they're competing? Yeah, because they have to be there. They're told when to go. You know what I mean? They're told it's not there. I mean, I'm usually on a location with my friends. I got all the time I need to basically call the trick. I'm usually doing one trick at once. Maybe you do a line.
Yeah.
But the risk is actually relatively low compared with, doing a front flip over a fence. Pretty low in comparison to doing a twister.
Actually, because I know I'm filming a lot for like my channels as well, and I did like edit so far as well with like mountain bike edits, and it's always, you just take your time, and like being safe is always the biggest thing and the most important thing when you're filming, and that like everyone knows that, all the filmers, all the like photographers. So if you as a rider say no, it's not gonna happen.
Yep, totally.
It's always your choice. So also as a competitor, but it's still a different pressure when you're live out there and you have to actually like win points or like do crazy like attack crazy downhill trail because you want to win, or you need points for the overall, or I don't know what,
Yeah, it's I've never done any competition stuff. Got no interest in competition myself. So but with the films, I actually kind of go down the route of sort of thinking what you come across in day-to-day life, and then try to make sort of tricks out of those things. So it can be, front flipping with friends isn't actually that hard. You have to find a good setup. You maybe need to know a little bit what you're doing about how to do a bunny hop front flip, but you kind of get quite a lot of value, to the audit for the, for as far as, not that that's what drives me, but if you're making a video, it kind of, the audience can relate with it a little bit more.
Okay, yeah.
Somebody doing a twister over a big jump, if it's a brand new one, but if you're doing a twister with a bar spin or something like that, for most people, unless you're like a keen mountain biker, it's really difficult to understand what's going on there.
Of course.
And I basically I almost try to do the tricks as small as I possibly can within reason, which is quite funny. So if I'm trying to do like a barrel roll with a kid's trailer on the back of my bike, I basically try to make the jump as small as I can make it, whilst being able to pull it, kind of thing.
Because you're more the type of guy, also what you just said with the flips, that you want to like just...
It's like trying to come up with something original is easier than trying to go bigger than the other guy.
Yeah.
That's the way. That's the way I like to do it, and you know, a good thing I don't have to compete with that stuff. So
would you say you were never a competitor because of your like mentality? Because I also started racing downhill bikes, and I never had that racing mentality, and I always like pressure got to me when it was a final stage, and you were in the start, like in the heart of the start, and it was just all on this one run, and you're like, shit, I have to like put a run together to win, you know, like.
I think for me, well, I never did any bike race. I mean, I grew up on a small island in the north of Scotland, and there really wasn't a sort of competition scene that I could really get involved in. So I just used to ride for fun with my friends. And then I used to always kind of get, like, individual sports always sort of suited me better, because team sports, I find that people spend half the time arguing, because, you know, it's football, everybody's just arguing about, you know, the rules all the time.
Yeah.
Like, this is pretty boring. So I just enjoyed my bike, because I could just sort of do my own thing, come up with my own challenges, get my own sort of buzz from it. I never had a dream when I was younger to become a professional rider. It was just
happened.
Yeah, well, I just used to just ride. I mean, my friends used to live outside the village I was from, so I spent a lot of time at night just out in the rain, in the winter, you know, just trying to learn wheelies or just learning different things. And I just always enjoyed just being out on my bike. And then when I left school, I started working in a bike shop so that I could just carry on just playing on my bike, lunch breaks or after work. And then, you know, luckily YouTube came around at the right time.
That was just wanted to say that, like, what was the intention when you released that first video part that got you where you are actually today? That was that, I forgot the name.
Inspired Bicycles was the first one. The intention was, like,
wasn't it to get or go into the direction of being, I want to make this a living, or
no. At that time I'd been doing I was kind of sort of semi-professional of some, you know, I'd be doing shows in schools, and but I'd still kind of go back to work in the bike shop in the winter, completely happy. You know, I maybe thought about becoming a World Cup mechanic, you know, downhill bike mechanic at one point, just so I could travel a little bit more. But basically my flatmate was a very good BMXer. He got injured one winter, 2008, and he offered to film some of the tricks that I was doing out in Edinburgh at the time. So I'd never worked with anybody that was quite on that level of filming. I was really into watching BMX and skateboarding, of course, mountain biking. Yeah. And the kind of traditional format for a rider, you know, whether skater, BMX or free rider, whatever, would be to have a part in a DVD or a video. That's kind of what I kind of grew up with.
Because social media wasn't
social media hadn't really sort of kicked off yet. It was kind of starting. You know, YouTube was maybe like 4 years old in 2009.
But that's nothing compared to like what is going on there today.
Yeah,
you know?
Totally. And I just sort of, we went out, filmed for a couple of days on my days off, and I kind of ticked off a few of the tricks that I really wanted to try. And then they kind of just end up rolling on a little bit. And the more kind of tricks I got together on this film, the sort of higher I kind of set my sights for my riding. And I thought, well, I should really step up and try to ride along this spiky fence or jump off this wall into this bank that I'd always kind of dreamed about doing. So we ended up filming for like 25 days over 6 months, trying to kind of get the different part together. And it was a really big surprise when we put it online. It was mainly basically something to kind of put on. There was a thing called Trials Forum.
Okay.
And that was where all the kind of trials riders in the world would kind of upload their stuff. And I was like, it'd be quite cool to kind of put up like a kind of, hopefully something that was like something that had a lot of work put into it for them. But I didn't expect it to kind of
blow up that way.
Yeah, break out of the trials world into the mountain bike world.
Even not even that. I mean, I don't know. I think that video, especially also the other videos that you've seen that you put out so far, you got into that like almost, I don't know how to say it, but like you got out of this like mountain bike niche, like the mountain bike scene. Like you're known everywhere, and like people who don't have anything to do with mountain biking, they know you, you know, through your videos. And I think the first one already also, like with the amount of views it got, of course, like
yeah, I mean the weird one was like the next day after we uploaded it to YouTube. I was getting calls from like the sort of national Scottish news about it. You know, it started and then it'd be like the UK news, and then it'd be like American news, you know, Australian news. You know, it was like on Indian TV. It was like really kind of, I suppose it was this. I mean, we kind of get more used to it these days, but like viral. Sort of video.
Especially.
And I found it very weird.
In this time, it's it was crazy.
Yeah,
at this time.
It was it was good fun.
Viral.
But then I wasn't really that bothered about it. Like I kind of just let the video do its thing. I kind of carried on doing some shows in schools for 6 months. I had all these, my friends set up a small email like on a website for all the kind of sponsorship requests and things that came in. And then 6 months after the video came out, I kind of sat down, ended up getting management with the team in Munich called, with a guy, Tarek Razuli.
You're still with him, right?
Yes. Yeah. So we've been working together for a long time now, since 2009. And then that's when I kind of signed with Red Bull, and that's kind of ended up kind of going sort of professional. But it was it's been fun. I mean, I cannot complain. I've been able to kind of just sort of dream up doing some, you know, like what would be the coolest thing I get, you know, to go and do my bike this year, and you know, and then you can between the different brands, you know, I can kind of go and do that.
That's so cool, man.
But I've never really considered myself. I still don't consider myself a YouTuber. You know, like
you don't want to go now. Are you an influencer, Danny?
No.
Are you an influencer?
I mean, I have to say, it's kind of the internet's changed over the years, and these days I do get a little bit creeped out by it, if I'm honest.
Okay, I want to go there. I want to because that's actually on my notes. You know, like mountain biking, and especially with all those sponsorships and everything, like social media is such a big part of it. Like if you got reach and you got like your, I don't know how many thousands of followers, you're interesting to sponsors, right? Like, and it doesn't even, people don't even care anymore, or brands don't even really care anymore how good you are. You just if you're entertaining and you just find people that
like an audience,
like an audience, and you build up a community, you're interested to a brand. And it all already got to like this point where if you don't have that, there's no way you're gonna get like you're gonna become a professional mountain bike, you know. Like you need, what are your thoughts on that? Because social media is such a big part, and I feel like if you don't have reach and if you don't have social media, it's very, very, or you're just super, super talented, or you're just like a Crankworks rider that goes number one on every, like wins every single race, or every single competition.
It really, I mean, it kind of makes sense. I mean, I suppose it used to be the riders that, you know, of course, it's like winning races, such an important one, winning the competitions. But then there's always been like, you know, there's always been this ecosystem of magazines, and it was always about, you know, like you would almost, certain riders would affiliate with certain magazines. You almost had like the sort of magazine writers, or you'd have, you know, the riders that were getting the most pages in that were the ones that were interesting to sponsors. So it's just the kind of modern age. Yeah, I think to be a professional, you do need to work on that. Of course, you can be number one, but it does help if you do some social media to go along with it. You know,
of course, like I think
so. It's tricky. I mean, it's and it makes sense for brands. You know, at the end of the day, you're sponsoring somebody. Obviously, you want, you know, there might be we want to see this person do well, but you're also trying to sell product off the back of it. You know, it's trying to sort of, you know, use their image as part of your brand to sell to other people. So it helps if they've got a reach to an audience that's going to buy your products. That's kind of how the world works. So
yeah, I don't know, because if you think about it, when I watch downhill races, or when I watch like a cross country race, or like any kind of competition, I couldn't tell you who got like 5th or 4th, even 3rd, maybe like the first two people I would kind of recognize, and I'll be like, oh, it's like Emil that won again at Crankworks or something. And then you would like remember his sponsors or like what bike he was riding. But the other guys that are not on that like very top level, you need to have like other things to show, you know, like it's not enough to be, it's not enough anymore to be like 5th place, 10th place. Like you have to do something else next to that.
For sure. But that's where if you've got that riding ability, I mean, if I had, you know, Emil's riding ability, it is cool to kind of ride all the stuff, you know. Jumps, I think, are especially hard for other, you know, people outside of freeride to relate to. But then if you try to come up with some more unique things to do that on, then that kind of helps your social side as well. So, you know, it's like the work harder, not work smarter,
work smarter, not hard. Yeah.
I mean, some of the competition stuff is like work harder, not smarter. That's what it looks like. You know, you're working your ass off, taking this insane risk, but the rewards not the same as if you kind of did a little bit more.
So that might be also the reason why so many people change to social media, because it's the work smart, not hard thing.
Yeah, I mean,
like you don't have that pressure, maybe not that much. Maybe you can actually like control the risk.
I mean, you look at riders like, I mean, folk who have really adopted the social and really put their character out, like Sam Pilgrim or Matt Jones. I mean, Sam Pilgrim's a good example of someone who was having to like send it, you know, like to be the top of freeride, you really have to push. And he had so many amazing years. He is still one of the sort of,
I mean, well, also when it comes to creativity and stuff like that.
Whereas now he's kind of, you know, making a really good living out of just having fun, you know, out there. So, but it does get a bit weird. I mean, I don't know, it's just, everybody's just so, you know, it's like selfie mode, kind of just the TikTok, the breakdown. I mean, I do it on Instagram, but the sort of breakdown of everything rather than there being like this sort of part kind of piece that maybe hopefully stands a bit more test of time. It does get kind of broken up into smaller daily stuff, and I suppose it is more just supplying your audience with what they want. But yeah, I don't know.
You think it's annoying, like so you're talking about the people that have their phone now, it's like 24/7 and be like, oh, I'm here now and I'll do that now, and this is my meal.
I'm just part of the older guard. I'll leave that.
But you're still so active on Instagram.
Yeah, I have one of my friends helps do some of the posts. Like I like to go out and film. I like
the filming part, but the annoying part is actually editing and like putting it up and stuff like that.
Like the actual posting, and then you find yourself. The worst part of it is basically find yourself on your phone looking at everybody else's content. That I'm like, I don't really want to be watching this stuff. You know what I mean?
That's crazy, yeah.
I mean, you know, I upload something and suddenly there's like thousands of people liking it. I'm like, all these people are just sat on their phones. You know, they should probably be off their phones going and doing something more productive. I
mean, that's how it works. We as like creators and we as like people who put out that content, we are just a part of that system of like getting everyone like watching in on their phone like 24/7.
Yeah, and I definitely
like we play a big part in that, because we actually make those people sitting on their phone 24/7 because they want to like watch the new YouTube video, or they want to like see the newest reel or something like that, you know. So it's
just the modern world.
Yeah
For the good, for the bad.
Actually crazy. Okay. Yeah, I mean, also in social media is there's so much content on there right now, and social media has gotten so big, but there are also so many creators and there's so many videos that went viral, and it's just getting really, really hard to become famous, or like become not famous but become how do you say, like a pro maybe, or just, you know, because just having a viral video right now on YouTube, or on maybe on YouTube it's a little better, but on Instagram that has like 100k views or even more, it's not that much anymore, because everyone's got it, you know, like everyone can get viral, everyone can get like
I think there is probably more opportunity than ever to be professional. I mean, there's more brands than ever, there's more people, there's more people in the world than ever. I mean, you know, since I've been born, the world's almost doubled in population, so you know, it's pretty mental.
So you think it's not harder to become or to go?
No, I don't think so, because there's more races, there's more. I mean, downhill's maybe changed this year, where that's become, but there's way more. There's more of everything. You know, social media. There's more brands. You know, there's more bike brands than there's ever been. There's more clothing brands, you know, it just might seem that way to people maybe, but I don't think it is. And it's also free to build up your. It's not free because you've got to be able to ride something as a bicycle rider. You need to be able to ride a bicycle to be able to do it. So of course, there's a certain amount of breaking parts that you need to do to become good.
Yeah.
But you can build up these platforms. You know, what I mean, I definitely don't think it's. Whereas if you think about it, in the past, you either had to try to win race results, or you maybe had to know somebody that knew a photographer that was going to come and snap you or take photos of you to end up in a magazine.
And now everyone can.
And you'd have to then try to get regular content in a magazine for a brand to really be interested in you. So it's much, I don't know, the good stuff kind of probably rises up.
But it loses importance, you know? Like, I feel like it's nothing special anymore to have a big Instagram channel, or it's nothing.
Brands will still be interested. It's still part of it. But of course, you need to work on all sides.
And you have to stand out. Cause if everyone's gotten like his thousands of followers or something like that, you have to like be the one that they want to take.
Totally. And that's where I talk about, you know, like the fence, you know, like this going over the fence. It's like trying to find
something that is unique.
That's what I've done over the years. I basically just look for holes in what's been done in the past. You just look for what's my skill set, what is the terrain that you know, what would I like to do next, you know, what kind of bike it would be on, whether it's on the trials bike, the mountain bike, the e-bike, sometimes on a road bike or whatever. You know, and if that's obviously if you're not racing. If you're a content creator, you just try to think, well, what's somebody not done before?
Yeah, and you want to do that.
Yeah, and it doesn't have to be crazy. It just has to be kind of.
It has to be different.
I mean, it helps a lot because if you're trying to one up somebody else, that's where, I mean, filming that street part in San Francisco wasn't the best way to go and make a viral film, because riding in the street, trying to do proper riding in the street.
But then filming takes a big part as well, like how you film stuff, how you edit it at the end.
These days, you know, you can use all these fancy cameras and
if you have the money for it.
No, but you can use the fancy cameras, but it doesn't actually equal. Fancy cameras don't equal views. So like phone clips, I would say chances if you went and filmed a street video, like at least well angled street film on an iPhone and edited it up, got the chance of actually probably doing better than something that where you had like red cameras and all these fancy things. It doesn't.
But that's what I mean, like how you film stuff.
Yeah, I mean, but the you know,
the quality is just a thing of like.
I mean, that's another thing that I think is easier for people today than it was, growing up. Whereas like you had nowhere to really like the reach of a VHS back in the day. You'd have to put together a full VHS tape, and then you'd have to try to find a distributor for that was going to go into sort of bike shops around the world. Whereas now everybody's got an amazing camera on their phone that's like way better than even the cameras like probably professional camera 7 years ago. These little iPhones now do a better job stabilizing everything.
It's crazy.
So it's like it's definitely easier now. It's just there's more people doing it. So, you know, you kind of. But hi.
It's an interesting topic. I don't know, and it gets so important by time. What I also think is that social media is just a bubble that's gonna like pop at one point. Like Instagram will get overloaded with content at some point that it's not handleable anymore. Like
it's hard.
There will be so much material on there that it's like, I don't know. It's just a drop on a hot stone, you know. If you put something else on there, and it's
I spend too
nothing anymore.
I spend too much time on there myself and find. I can't say I get much inspiration from Instagram. Actual, you know.
You like can't or you can?
I don't personally. I mean, I should say it, you know, for my brands, but it's just like you don't like. I look at. How did I describe it these days? You just can't really. I mean, you can obviously laugh and go, "Oh, you might rewatch something a few times and be like, wow, that was wild." But compared with the emotion, I don't know. See, when you put like a sort of longer part together of a song, you can really get a much more like there's so much more emotion it's like you don't get songs, you don't get a piece of music that's good, that's 15 seconds long. I mean, these days TikTok will try to make that a thing.
Yeah.
But you know, that's why like you get like a song has to be 3 minutes. There's something about the
So you have to build up a connection.
Yeah,
with like
exactly. You can tell a wee story going on, and it'll sort of last with you. Whereas, I mean, obviously you get mental. You know, there's mental. I mean, if you think of Fabio Wibmer's that famous clip of him going down the stairs in Paris out of control.
Yeah, and then at the end.
But that's I mean, I can, you know, you can think about that, and that you can think about watching that for the first time, and you're like, whoa, that generated some emotion watching that on the phone, because it was so loose and wild, and he makes it, and it's got the kind of bystanders reacting to it and all that kind of stuff. But I definitely like this sort of full part to kind of give folk a bit more feeling.
It's very interesting. Yeah. Okay. Wow. Maybe also I want to talk a little bit about, besides social media, about like YouTube and the projects and the longer videos you put on there. Imaginate is just one of the most viewed videos you put out. I don't know how many. I looked it up beforehand, but I don't know anymore. But like some of those videos got over like 50 million views, and one maybe Imagine over 100. What, 128 or something? Could that be?
Imagine it's not quite 100. It's like in the 90s. There's the most viewed ones, Cascadia, we did with GoPro a few years ago, which is just over 100 million, and that was on rooftops in Gran Canaria.
Yeah, crazy. So, and you come up with those crazy ideas, but where do you get your inspiration from then? Like, it's not Instagram, as you just said. It's like where.
Genuinely, it's sitting down. When I travel, I quite often have a pen and paper. And I like to just basically write down. It's almost like the idea for your film should almost be like a sentence or even just a title.
Oh, like something you can build around. Like
so when I talk about trying to find the holes in what's not been done before, you kind of. So I tried to think of something. I mean, Cascadia is a good example. I hadn't seen anybody do like a rooftop trials video. I'm quite comfortable with height, so I thought, well, if I'm going to do something for GoPro, I'm sponsored by GoPro, so I'm like, well, it's gonna give people this kind of POV or this feeling of being up there, so you're gonna kind of have that emotion to play with of basically being high up on rooftop. Then the next thing, you want to find somewhere that the buildings kind of cascade and ideally be colorful. So GoPros really pop. They work well with like good light, color. So I basically go on Google, scour the internet for the right place, and then we find this place, Las Palmas in Gran Canaria. Then we went down there and knocked on a few doors, tried to get permissions for things. And to be honest, that was actually one of the easiest films I've ever made. Really enjoyable.
Wow, okay.
Because the actual writing was it was kind of a little bit like doing the shows with Drop and Roll, where the writing, it has to be writing at that height where you've got the pretty high consequences if you fall off these roofs. And then it has to be they have to be relatively easy, or easy for me at least, so I could just enjoy myself. And that sort of film really worked out really well. And again, with Imaginate, it was kind of, I used to sit at the dinner table, with
just draw and then...
Yeah, or I would use my knife and fork at the dinner table. That was kind of where the idea originated from. I used to kind of use my fork as a trials bike, and I'd hop from the glass to the salt.
Nice.
And that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And we got access to this big old museum, and it had like an old train station there. Everything else had been cleared out, but I had an old train and a train station, and you could look at it from high up. And I thought, well, we've got this as a prop, then why not sort of make this into this big kind of toy, like a kid's bedroom floor, and make something kind of tap into the nostalgia kind of element. That was like the kind of emotion that I.
So I think I feel like your videos are all about like bringing up emotions in people, and like.
I mean, it's not trying to. I mean, again, it's not. I'm not out there to try to make sort of a viral. You don't want to make sort of clickbaity, sort of viral kind of stuff. But
no, but that's different, I'd say.
You
Like, if
wanna
you want to
kind
go
of-
viral, you're thinking about the numbers, you're thinking about like the likes, the views, but you're thinking about the content itself and what it's going to bring up in people. You know,
Yeah,
and that's different.
I kind of think about what I would like to watch. You know,
Yeah, see,
you know, as the you know, rider who was working the bike shop, if I was watching somebody else making content, I kind of often reflect back to, if I'm going to do something new, would younger me in the bike shop think that was going to be cool?
yeah,
So yeah, I do often try to think about what kind of emotion you're gonna tap into. Humor is a good one. I do enjoy
a good laugh.
Yeah, a good laugh. I mean, I enjoy laughing myself, and
That's
it's a real fun emotion to play with. You know, so
Yeah.
that's where films like Wee Day Out was supposed to be a kind of, what I would say, like a jovial jaunt around the countryside on a mountain
Wow,
bike.
that's cool. Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
like, and then if you've got a good concept, then you can thread in the sort of interesting, cooler, actual hard moves on the bike
Yeah.
in amongst all the kind of fun stuff. You know, like there's a shot where I ride on top of a hay bale through
Yeah.
the shot,
yeah.
and it was like, you know, this is like a, I don't know, 10-second shot or something in the film, but it took us 4 days and about 400 attempts to get that one piece.
Wow.
So, but the end product is kind of meant to kind of look quite easy. Or, you know, I start stooping so low as to put like a kid's trailer on the back of the bike to do
to then flip it.
daycare. Yeah. And and on my kind of ideas for that, you knew it was going to be funny to have the trailer to do certain things, but I was like,
But
to get away with
Alright.
it, to get away with the whole concept, to make it something that other people couldn't do, or to set the bar to like my kind of standard, I was like, right, I need to be able to do a barrel roll with this. So we filmed the whole video
insane,
for
yeah.
like took about 8 days of filming, and then I spent another 16 days working on and trying to land the barrel roll with the trailer, which, you know, was like took like 6 months of work trying to make that happen. So
well, that's so cool at the end. The end product was amazing.
cheers.
And I don't know, when you have to, because I try to go in that direction as well. I love the creativity. I love to do something different. I'm also not the type of writer that wants to one up like everyone, or like is like, oh, I can, if someone does like a bar spin 360, I can do like 3 bar spin with triple 360 triple bar spin or something like that. I want to like also entertain. For me, it's also just about the entertaining. And I was at the video premiere of Don't Look Down from Chris Kyle in London. Samuel was there as well.
Quality.
Yeah, so we were there together and
Brilliant.
we're able to speak with Kyle about it. We also did a little interview.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Oh, class.
Yeah.
I mean,
It wasn't a podcast, unfortunately. It was just like a...
Oh, I mean, Chris is he's like one of my good friends. Yeah. He's a total legend.
He's a really good guy.
Yeah.
And I also asked him about this, like planning those crazy film, like videos and stunts takes up so much time. And I brought up my own video that I released like last year.
Oh yeah, cool.
It was a oh shit, I forgot the name. No, it was like late to work volume 2, because I did a late to work edit. And I'm sure I've seen one of them. I should have I should have done more easy man
research before
easy,
coming
man.
on, but I love anything with the concept. I'm like,
it was late to work volume 2, because I wanted to one up my first late to work video. And the story was like, I would wake up, it was a beautiful day, like everything's good, I would go prepare for riding my bike. And I used to work for like the public transportation, like the train at a train station. I used to do night shifts. So in the video, my boss would call me and be like, or message me and be like, hey, don't forget you have a night shift tonight, but like enjoy your good day, and then I'll be out riding. And I was riding the whole day, and then at the end I'm on the top of the mountain, being like, oh shit, I'm too late for work. And I have to go down this mountain now because I'm gonna miss the night shift.
Brilliant.
And I'm calling my dad because he's a professional paraglider, and I hook myself up, like I'm riding on the bicycle, I'm hooking myself up on like the paraglide, we fly away. Like I'm on the bike, and
I think I've seen the clip on I'm sure I've seen the clip on social. Well,
you went pretty viral.
Yeah,
viral.
I've seen it.
1.3 million or something.
Crazy.
So maybe, and we planned that, and we wanted to plan this stunt because I was like, that's something different. Like, I was riding, I'm like attaching myself to a flying paraglide, and then we fly away together.
Brilliant.
And then we want to do like crazy drone shots and stuff. But to plan that was such a pain. Like, it was, and that wasn't compared to what, for example, Chris did. It's nothing, you know. And what you do with Imaginate, with the, I don't know, the We Day Out and stuff like that. It's, how do you plan that? How much time goes into it? Like, how? Because I want to get to this level, but it's just so hard if you.
Yeah, it's. I don't know. So it's concept, which it's like title, concept, and then you just try to find the tricks that make that concept come to life. You ideally want to have like 3. I'd like to work on 3 bangers. Try to have like a banger at the start that's like a hook, and you want to have it kind of going up, and you really want to have something in the middle that kind of just keeps it going, and of course you want to work towards the end, the big end, the big end, and then it's really just about just looking for those locations. We've got lots of tools. Google Maps is an amazing tool. I mean, I find it easier to look for things that are likely to come up in maps, so that's why I've worked with things like castles.
Oh, okay.
Like sort of dams. You might have like old factories that are points of interest. Things that I've used a lot over the years are, is it called urbex? I don't know what, you've probably got one here in Switzerland, where basically, maybe you don't have any abandoned buildings here in Switzerland.
We might have some. I don't even know. It's like,
but like old factories and stuff. But you can basically find these kind of urban explorer forums. I mean, now it's probably you'll just be able to find an urban explorer Instagram, I'm sure.
Yeah, it'll be like,
Whereas before, you used to have like a website, and you had to like, it was a bit more sort of basic. But I use those very much as ways of scouting. Or if I am on Instagram, I mean, occasionally you'll get a location that comes across the kind of, scroll past and you're like, I need to sort of screenshot and put that in my kind of, I could maybe do this trick there. So, yeah, it's basically like having quite a clear idea.
So it's about like the bangers actually to hook people. Like,
you kind of
attach people to the video, almost like so they don't leave again if they click it, and then it's all about like location, how cinematic
you can look at things. I mean, Fabio's done an amazing job with a lot of his videos over the years. I mean, even the one he did in the lockdown and around the house. Yeah, it's kind of just like what have I got? What without the location, what tricks can you do almost anywhere? And then you find it, and then you kind of use that. It's not like I'm constantly working on progressing my riding. I have my kind of base level of riding that I've worked on for years, and then I try to I'll take on a new challenge, come up with a new idea for a different trick in a different location, but you can kind of just use your skills to kind of just make that concept come alive. So I mean, it's something that really, I have to say, it's something that really sort of drives me.
Just coming up with those ideas, like working towards the goal, like towards the end.
And especially if you've never seen anybody else do it before, or it doesn't have to be like, I'm not going like, this is world's first this, world's first that.
Like Ryan Williams.
I don't
everything has to be world's first.
The merits don't matter, but if it's more just like, is this going to work well for the film I'm trying to make? And I've been lucky to do loads of those kind of clips for loads of these films over the years that are just like, I can look back and be like, it was really cool. It was worth working so hard on trying to land that trick for that film.
That's cool. And actually, as I just said, that's like a goal of mine to just reach that level. Also with a crew that I can rely on, like Chris told us at the video premiere that it was all about also the crew he had, like people and friends he was working with for years, and building up something that takes a long time. But I also think next to the crew you must have like sponsors and partners that actually help you achieve those like crazy goals and like projects to realize them. And that brings me to my next question. Is it like, does Red Bull as a brand and the name that Red Bull has, does it help to realize those crazy ideas? Because they have that that image, and if Red Bull is involved in something, it's like, wow, that's gonna be big and that's gonna be crazy. So we have to support that.
Yeah. So when I'm thinking about the sort of projects I've done over the years, there's certain sort of I almost tier the ideas. You know what I mean? Because money doesn't necessarily mean, money doesn't necessarily mean a good video either.
Yeah.
You know, you can have huge budgets, but you can waste it on cameras that are too fancy. That's a good way to waste it. Traveling too far to go and do a project. You can spend so much of your budget on getting to the location and not enough time in front of the lens. And I would say, as you say, working with a really good crew. I mean, I've been very lucky to grow up with a few riders that have also started picking up cameras and have turned out to be really good sort of film makers. And we've all kind of grown up.
Oh, that's so cool.
Together. Yeah. And then when it comes, as your question goes, when it comes to working with brands, I mean, Red Bull, of course, they've been fairly pioneering in terms of interesting, creative ideas using extreme sports athlete. I mean, I call myself an extreme sport athlete.
Would you? You're not?
I'm not that extreme. I mean, it's not that extreme.
No,
it's like a trials rider. You know, but it's I mean,
but things you do have like big consequences.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look what Fabio does as well.
Definitely.
And he's a trials rider too.
Yeah, definitely.
And
but
that's like extreme.
But they've made this interesting. You know, they don't put TV adverts really out apart from the cartoons. Occasionally, in recent years, they've maybe put a couple of more, actual having faces of their athletes in their videos. But most of their marketing is through putting on cool events, of course, sponsoring athletes and allowing those athletes, especially in the sort of more niche sports, when trials is pretty small.
Yeah.
Sort of it allows us to kind of go out and sort of, if we could go and do anything we wanted, what would you sort of dream about? And it's not like there's like an endless budget there. You have to kind of probably you have to come up with a good idea and persuade people that it's a good idea to do it. But I've been very lucky, with the first project I did with Red Bull, they kind of let me do that. I worked my ass off with my friend who filmed my first video.
And you did that without the head sponsor. You weren't.
No, I was. The very first one in Edinburgh. There was.
Red Bull wasn't involved.
No. I had a bike sponsor that had been breaking so many frames. I probably broken like 40 frames of theirs, and hadn't really. I hadn't really given them anything to show for it. So that's why we called it Inspired Bicycles, because they were my bike sponsor. And it went up on their channel. Their channel.
Okay. Yeah.
But yeah, Red Bull are just really. They kind of get it, you know what I mean? And especially, I mean, working with the team at Red Bull UK, they especially, they're sort of friends of mine, and we kind of, same with like Chris is in that same ecosystem, we kind of just like, what can we do within sort of the bounds of reality, what's going to be fun, and let's kind of get a team together that's generally my friends to either build it or film it. And I mean, their social reach helps, but it's not the be all end all. I think anybody can.
But it's also the image they have.
Yeah, of course. I mean, they've built up that over the year. It's really been, of course, it's gotten, the brand's gotten very big. They own football teams, they own multiple Formula One teams, everything else. But they still really, there's so many of us in the kind of action sports world. I mean, there's so many competitions. There's a lot of sports that probably wouldn't be what they are without them. You know what I mean? Even downhill, the way that downhill was with, the live stream on Red Bull, they did a very good job of kind of bringing that up.
Bring it up, yeah.
So
it's cool. Okay.
I'm not gonna go. I mean, they've just been very good to me, looked after me when I'm injured. But
it's great because I feel like if I will come up to, I have ideas for my future, like videos, but it's just and then I think about how to realize them and what steps I have to do, and it's like if I go somewhere and be like to this person, for example, like a property owner,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm like, I want to build a jump there because I want to do like something crazy there. They're not gonna say yes to just a random dude that knocks on their door and is like, "Hi there, I just want to like get like a digger in here and start digging in your backyard. Is that okay?" It's gonna be on YouTube. But then if Red Bull is behind, you can say like, "Hi, like we're doing this for a company that actually makes things look
Yeah,
cool."
I mean,
and
there's definitely, it opens up some doors.
it helps.
It opens up some doors, but it can also be a hindrance sometimes. Like I was filming San Francisco there last year.
Yeah.
I filmed in a lot of spots where everything had to be permitted because it's going on.
Because it's so big.
Yeah, well, because it's going on Red Bull's channel, there's the danger that you go to all this work, and one person complains, about you filming on a certain property, and the video has to come down, which is, it's happened to friends in the past. So,
but that's what you have to do anyways now. Well,
no, but if you didn't get permit, so if you didn't get a permit, but I know it's kind of like that anyways.
But maybe not.
But if it's going, it depends on how likely the video is to kind of get out in front of the person who it's like, if you're doing it for a smaller brand and the chances of the person that's going to complain seeing it's very small, then it would be fine. Whereas if you're going out there and putting real money into the project and something comes down. So basically I had to permit all the locations in San Francisco.
And that just takes a lot of time. But it also help you, I guess, with...
It did, but
like
it put quite a lot of time pressure on stuff, whereas it would have been much more organic. I would have gone like, right, I got up today. I don't really feel like going to Alcatraz to do a front flip. I would rather go and do this other one, which is a bit mellower. But because this is the day that we called... you kind of got
you have to do it there.
Yeah, or try at least. So that was quite stressful. So, but like I was saying, there's, of course, if you're going to go run a digger in somebody's garden, that's a bit of a different story. But if it's more,
it was just an example.
Yeah, or riding on somebody's roof, it's a bit of a different story.
Yeah, for example. Yeah.
And there's certain countries you want to pick for that. It's like.
You shouldn't. You shouldn't do anything like that in Switzerland because it's horrible. You're like, no one's gonna let you do that stuff.
But no, it's so true. Like I sometimes think it'd be quite fun to do a street video in London, but if I have to clear locations, it's going to be a no-go.
No.
Whereas like we go to Gran Canaria
like,
and we knock on folks. we knocked on folks' door. Oh, would you let us ride on your roof?
Maybe that's why Fabio filmed in Chile.
Well, yeah, no, but it is. There is certain countries that are a bit more kind of like, it's a bit more chill, and you can go and, as long as you're not breaking other people's stuff, then
actually
you can kind of get away with certain things.
No,
so it is something to think about if you're
like, okay, if I want to do something crazy, maybe not do it in a country where it's like absolutely like not worth putting in the work to organize because it's going
to make your life easier.
Yeah. Okay. That's cool. Wow. All right. Nice. We talked about just about your projects, your videos. I don't know how much time we have left, but
go a wee bit longer.
I'm good, but just something else that I want to talk about is because I don't know. We'll see. We'll just carry on. I don't know. Is something that I spoke with a lot of friends on this podcast before, and it's just something that is in my head lately that I kind of want to have like different opinions about, and your opinion would be very interesting to hear. It's like I feel the mountain bike scene lately is getting through social media, and social media plays a big part in it. Gets like very toxic. I'd say it's like all about like brands, like what kind of bike brand you have, what kind of clothing brand. Like if you haven't got like a 10K bike, you're not as good of a rider if you have like a 2K worth bike or a 1K worth bike. And it's all about, like the scene is pushing itself, and like the riding is crazier than ever. But it's also very, you just always compare yourself with other people. It's very like, there's so much pressure on everyone almost, even if you're not a pro rider, because you have Instagram, you put out clips. I don't know, what are your opinions on that? Because I feel the diversity and like the reason why we all ride bikes changes a little bit, and that's kind of sad to see, because That's my opinion, but that's kind of what I see a little.
It's a difficult one. Of course, I mean, if anything, the bikes are probably like good bikes have gotten cheaper than ever. Of course, the top bikes are very expensive. You know, if you're spending 12 or 13,000 euros on a bike, but you've got to look at those bikes in the equivalent of, like a Porsche or whatever. You know, you kind of got to look at those bikes. You know, you don't need that bike. Like, obviously, it's a bike to maybe have on your wall to aspire to maybe have one day, but the bikes now that are, £1,500, if you're starting to get maybe full suspension, like £2,000, which is still a lot of money.
Yeah.
But compared with the bike, when I was, in my sort of teens, sort of early 20s, the bike that you're getting for $2,000 is actually pretty shit hot.
Wow.
And I don't really see it. I'm not really. I suppose I'm a slightly older rider.
Maybe you don't spend as much time on social media.
Yeah, and I don't know what age are you?
I'm 23.
Well, yeah. So I mean, we're different generations, and I think they're I can't even imagine I can't really relate to what it would be like to be in school with social media and growing up with that kind of. But from my outside view, I still think mountain biking is pretty. Compared with skateboarding, BMX, we are very light-hearted, very forgiving people. You
think so?
Oh,
compared to BMX, because BMX has such a
BMX
core, scene, and it's like
exactly. It's salty as hell.
You think so?
Oh yeah.
Because if you look at, I don't know, like a BMX jam, like one of those street jams that they have in like New York or something. The riders are so different. I feel like the characters are so. And in mountain biking, it's just you have if you go to a bike park in Switzerland here, like let's say Lenzerheide is one of the biggest bike parks we have here, and it's just. Everyone has the same outfit. Everyone looks the same. It's nothing different anymore because everyone wants to be like just mountain biker.
Well, you've kind of got to. I mean, BMX. All BMXs basically are the same. I mean, you know what I mean? Like apart from a different paint color, different brands of wheels. The geometry is slightly tweaked, but they're all pretty much. Yeah. So no, I mean, coming from an older rider, I can say that.
Is it so? Oh wow! Okay, I never heard that before.
Where mountain biking is like the most mellow. Sometimes I have to say, it's too forgiving. I don't want to be. I don't want to be the kind of person that's kind of like, dissing other people's videos that are getting put out. But I feel like there should be a little bit of quality control. That's something that's one part of my videos that I've worked really hard on, and I take from BMX, which was
that's crazy. Okay,
so there was I'll try a trick 400 times and I might land it a certain way, but I might have done an extra pedal, or I might have taken my foot off the pedal while trying to balance along something, and I'll work really hard to basically make it look as good as I can physically do it.
Yeah,
and I will really work. I'll put extra days of riding in to trying to land that as good as I can.
Yeah.
Where sometimes, I'm not going to call out any riders, but there's a lot more looseness to things not being landed properly, where feet are coming off the pedals.
Okay.
Things are, it'd be, I suppose, I'm not dissing bar spins. I don't do bar spins there's a certain reason why I've not relied but basically doing like a kind of handlebar catch, not on the grip or something like that, or crank catches, or
so you think it has to be like the riding has to be cleaner?
There's a certain amount of quality control. No, I mean it's not. I mean it's about having fun at the end of the day.
Yeah, of course, but in video parts, or
I would say there's a certain level of. It shouldn't be that people in the comments are going wasn't pulled because of this, but there is a certain. But
that's what they do. It's like you land a trick on resi. And it's like a super crazy trick, and you're super stoked. People are gonna write in your comments, "Oh, it's resi. It doesn't count."
It doesn't count, but then it is.
Another bar spin in it.
But it does. But it is a trick to resi, so it's not the same as landing it to dirt. So you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I mean the risk isn't the same. So in the physical world, landing it to a real landing is, in my opinion, better than because when because the risk.
Of course, but why giving someone shit about that? Like, don't be.
I don't
like,
think no, but I think
you should be like,
I
heck
think
yeah, you landed this trick. Not complaining. You should be like,
no,
that's
no.
cool.
It depends. No, it's I get where you're coming from if you're getting that kind of feeling from, but there's a certain amount of like. Also acknowledging you should be stoked that you've landed it, but and also maybe to aspire to go and land that.
Yeah.
To dirt.
Okay, yeah.
That's where it should be going, and it's like say landing a world's first to Resi. I mean, I've been riders like Ryan Williams, who's like all time insano human.
Yeah.
And even the way they do stuff, I don't know. There's a certain amount of. It's hard. I can sort of see where if people are kind of going well. The only way it's actually done for real is the only way you can really claim a trick is if it's actually landed on
dirt.
I'm like
maybe that's kind of like an old school way of thinking. No,
it kind of is
because now these days you have so many opportunities with airbags. And
but I think it's still, or you could just call yourself a Resi rider. You know what I mean?
Oh,
that's
okay.
But it's not the same because the physical risk. Because you could land on your head. Obviously, the Resi could hurt.
But that's smart. Work smart, not hard, Danny.
No, I mean, but I do think it's not as cool. You know what I mean?
That's yeah.
I mean, the physical. Somebody doing lesser trick to a dirt landing, which is the kind of sort of core foundation of the certain sport, but say doing dirt jumping to Resi landing is it's cool, don't get me wrong, and I totally get the kind of work smart, but it is a different there's the risk level is just a different thing, the
risk is, but I'd say like physically if you do a triple backflip to Resi, it's like physically it's the same thing, you do the same move, and it's like but it's not but mentally it's not
somebody doing it to dirt, it's considerably more gnarly. It's like it's not.
It's just in the head. It's more mental.
But it's like physical. It's like a physically better. It's a physically better thing to have achieved, I would say.
Okay. Yeah.
That's what I would get that. Like that's. I mean, that's what I do. I mean, if I don't land anything, I do use mats to practice, which I almost. It's not very core. Skating BMX are not going to do that. No. I mean, if you watch a skateboarder, if you watch a skateboarder at the top end of skateboarding. There's never going to be a mat in their life. Every single thing that they've learned is concrete to concrete. So it's like their levels had, that's the kind of almost rules of the game. And, and for my videos, I would never, I'd never take a trick to mats. You know what I mean? Like you're just never going to see that. Like I would never sort of, it's like that's a stage towards actually going and landing it for real. So that's kind of where I'm saying, but I do get the kind of Resi thing, because it means you can land good things, but I still think it is like a gym. It's like basically doing stuff in a gym.
But then I mean,
you could have contests that are basically Resi landers. You know what I mean? Like, but it's not, and as long as everybody's doing that, but doing a world's first to Resi is.
Okay. Yeah.
It's a wee bit. I mean, it should be, in my opinion.
Okay.
Taken to something where you're actually landing it for real. It was fine if you're going to do it on that setup.
Okay, I agree with you, and like thinking about like landing something on Resi and then thinking about like now it's time to go to dirt because I have it clean.
Because I do understand that the audience it's kind of like the same thing to the audience, but as a rider, it's a very different beast. I mean, I can throw all sorts of shit onto a Resi and you get away with it over and over again. It's good to be able to learn. Yeah. But I think there should be an aspiration in my mind.
And I think you never get that safeness in your mind.
It's a total. It's
everywhere when you should only have done it on Resi.
Yeah, it's a totally different beast. You can't. If Crankworks was on to Resi, it would be insane. It already is insane.
Like the last jump being a Resi or a mulch jump. People would go.
or you see at Masters of Dirt, you see Nikolai trying to do whatever he's doing next or whatever. It's a different beast for shows, but I do think if you're wanting to claim certain things,
Yeah. But then the only thing I have to say is that the audience and the people who are watching it shouldn't give like just shit about someone.
No, I don't think. I think it depends. I suppose it's maybe there's a certain phrasing that you could use as a writer I'd say it's like, say if you start kind of like,
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know how to describe it.
Just say something positive first, and then go on.
Yeah,
with,
I think people are definitely going to be jealous because not everybody has a nice resi ramp nearby. You know what I mean? There's of course more these days, but
and it's very core to just as you just said, to land stuff.
And that's why everybody, you know, like BMX up until not that long ago. I mean, there was places like Woodward that had a foam pit. There wasn't many places that actually had sort of good resi, but But yeah, so it's difficult one. But I do use mat. But I always I've been like, you know, it'd make my videos easier if I could have just land stuff onto mats and call it, you know. But I use that.
But that's just not your.
But the reason that it's like,
you know?
it's pool, you know, it's like it's basically just not pooled if it's onto resi.
Yeah, all right.
That's a
statement.
I'll call it.
All right, we're gonna end this right here.
I'm gonna call
it. It was nice.
Sorry. I mean, I'm not there doing like double flips onto resi really myself.
No, it's all good.
But I'm not. You know, I've not done stuff like that. And I'd be so stoked to have the sesh, and I would definitely post if I did some double flips onto resi for sure. I'd post that stuff, but I'd probably call it in a certain way. Be like, you know. Maybe one day I would aspire to do it.
But that's also your mentality and your almost like ego that says like, no, it's a no go if I land it on resi. I have to if I really want to be able to.
It's hard to. It just has to be compared to resi. Basically, that's the thing. So basically, you land things as resi. It just have to be compared to resi. That's how I'd say it's like a sort of middle ground. And I would say if people are landing that same trick to dirt, it's just a different.
Okay, I have one for you. All right. Are you ready?
I feel so salty.
No, it's all good. Now we're talking about
it's like landing stuff. It's like landing things into water. It's like landing stuff into water. It's like doesn't count really. So.
But what about your like how many feet from flip from that thing into water?
Yeah, so that
was huge.
But it was only like 18 meters or something like that. And it doesn't. I was scared because basically when the wave went past, you could see the rocks. So there was a certain shelf that I had to clear.
So I had to go over it.
But there was no real fear of it. I mean, especially when you watch kids nowadays doing this sort of death dive. Have you seen this death diving stuff? You know, you realize that you can actually land in water really how you want. 18 meters, you could get probably 100. You could get 100 people to do a belly flop off 100 meters. Off 18 meters. And
no way. They're
going to be fine. You know, they might have like bruises.
But water can be hard.
Yeah, but it's not going to kill you. You know what I mean? So 18 meters, no? I don't think any, unless they had like a problem internally, I think you would get away. I think if everybody was just pushed off like lemmings. So that's the way I look at it. I try to like rationalize the,
Well, I think as someone who never jumped from further down to like I don't know, 10, 11 meters. I can't really talk.
But say 10, 11. I mean, 10, 11 for sure. You know, you could land on your back, your front, any way you want. But you wouldn't do that in the same way that you wouldn't really want somebody to come and slap you. In the face.
I guess. But you would survive it, right?
But when it comes down to the basic sort of physics of
I know
you hitting the water at that speed, for most people, as long as you're not hitting rocks or I mean, I've mucked up big time from high things, and at worst you basically end up with just like sore. So,
okay. Yeah. Well, okay. I have a fun coming back to the resi thing. I have a funny one, or just a question. So there was this. Do you know the Austrian rider Elias Schwerzler?
Yes.
Schwerzler, yeah. He started the whole like YouTube thing with Fabio and stuff, and he was doing that live show, like a talent show on Twitch, like just live streaming, and people could come in like. And I entered that because I was like, I don't know, I just want to be there, and as my talent, I just said like I ride bikes, and I went into his live stream and be like, I ride bikes. And he was like, okay, so you're like you can go to the next round, but I want you. And then like he gave everyone who like got to the next round a challenge.
Okay.
And he was like, okay, I want you to do a barrel roll, like your first one. I'm like, okay, good. I'm gonna learn a barrel roll, and I learned it on airbag. And the only clip I sent in was me doing a barrel on airbag, and he was like, "Nah, that doesn't count. Yeah, that's airbag. Like that's nothing."
I would agree.
Yeah. Then he was like, "Okay, I want you to do it on dirt for the next like show, and if you have it, you're like a step further." And I did the barrel roll on mulch, but I did it with a downhill bike. So I did it with a bigger bike. It was a little harder to pull, and it was on a way bigger jump than I did it on the.
I would say it was kind of getting.
What's your opinion, Danny?
I would say it's getting into the grey area. Mulch is still kind of resi.
Fuck. Dang it! My barrel roll didn't count.
I mean, I don't want to be harsh, but I mean, it is just like the sort of raw. I mean, it's who makes up the rules. It's all fun. Shit. That's the way I would say.
No, that's it. I'm leaving.
But
I'm quitting biking.
No, it is hard. Okay. It is hard because I mean, honestly, like in BMX, it used to be like if you were allowed a backflip, you weren't allowed to use a resi. You know, using foam. Yeah. Using foam would be like seen as like.
But that's such bull. Like also like I'm sure there are riders out there like BMX riders saying like, oh, people who ride with the helmets are like that's not core. Why would you say something like that? It's just not safe.
We all come from different backgrounds. Some people have more than others. You know, of course, you come from different cities, different cultures. You know, people just have different values on the stuff. And you can kind of see, I suppose it's like, I mean, climbing is a good example of people that do stuff in the gym. You know, like you might climb flipping really gnarly sort of boulder stuff in the gym, but you don't do, you know, stuff outdoors, which is kind of, but it becomes almost slightly, it's just like a slight, I mean, now there's enough resis that it's kind of like, it's becoming like a new.
So you would say bouldering is not like actual.
Well, it's just different.
It's
different. I mean, of course, like the people in the gym probably go out climb as well, you know.
Yeah.
But it's kind of, I mean, I would say it's just like cooler. It's a
Samuel, can you confirm he's a climber?
I would say it's a cooler thing to go out and climb kick-ass sort of rock climbing routes.
It's
gym is like, it's kind of, it's cool in its own way. And of course, it's just like they're both seems respect each other. But climbing like a cool, I would say, you know, like Will Bosey climbing the sort of latest flipping thing is like, that's pretty damn cool. If that was same flipping 9 whatever it is in a gym, you're like, yes, it's really cool, but it's not very aesthetically pleasing. It's not like the origins of the sport.
Have you been?
That's I'd say, but yeah, same with like big routes. You get on drive. I mean, it's like sport and trad. Like we do quite a lot of trad climbing in the sky, and it's pretty scary, you know, putting your own protection in. Whereas sport, it's like, I mean, you could compare all these different. I mean, sport's much more like, well, all your stuff's in, the risk's much lower, you know, because your gear's much safer. You know what I mean? You're not having to muck about. You know, the stuff. Chances are your clips are already on the hard stuff. They've already got stuff. It's more about the pure. How hard can I climb? You know. So, whereas like trad climb is pretty. It's like. It's not the of course you get soloing, but it's pretty gnarly. The top trad stuff, you know, it's gnarly.
He's nodding. I'm not a climber. I can't relate. But okay, sweet. Yeah. Wow. Nice.
I might have to go out soon. So
Yeah. No problem.
Shit,
yeah.
Okay. I better go. Yeah, I better go soon.
Time flew. I mean, we can end it here. It was really nice talking to you, Danny. It was.
Pleasure talking to you.
What a nice
no, it's good. And
podcast.
Fair play for doing what you do. It's good working on this sort of content. It's cool. Getting like a different perspective on
I mean, I really want to bring some interesting people in front of the camera and just talk with them, and it's super interesting to like, you know, hear what they have to say.
Cool, man.
So awesome.
Thanks.
I don't know if we ever cross like ways again.
Cool.
You're always allowed to hop on the podcast again.
Thanks. You never know, I might be back here next year. You never know. So.
Oh yeah, sweet. All right. So
Hoshi days. Come down next days.
Yeah.
Blooming good.
Also, thanks Intercycle for letting us like being in this room to film everything. I'm sure you had a busy weekend, and I hope you can like rest and prepare before the next show in Fort William, right?
Driving back to Scotland tomorrow. So
2 days back.
Yeah.
Sweet. Can you sleep in the car?
No, it's pretty comfortable, but no, not really. So it's not so bad.
Well, all right.
I'll be doing the driving. So
you drive?
I drive.
Oh,
half and half. Yeah. So.
Nice.
Cool, man.
All right.
Thanks,
Danny. It was sweet. All right, guys. That was it with the podcast. Thanks for listening. If you haven't subscribed yet, or you just saw this episode, as your first thoughts on the helmet episode, go and subscribe. I try to do like more English episodes. I'm really lazy with picking guests that talk English, but
English is spot on. It's like
thanks,
10,
man.
10 out of 10 out of 10.
I
mean, it's very impressive.
Thank you, man.
Yep.
So I don't know who's my next guest gonna be, but we'll leave it at that. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I guess I see you in the next episode of Thoughts Under the Helmet. Peace out.
Cheers.
Sweet.
I feel like I've been flipping.